Hey everyone! So in this video, we'll be looking at another way of storing information, and that is using arrays. Arrays are capable of storing multiple pieces of information. Okay, to see how this works, let's just make a new file. I'm going to save my file as arrays.rb. Save that. Now let's make a new array. Let's just call it array. I'm gonna enter Joe. Let's just do what I'm doing right now and I'll show you. I'll explain that in a minute. Let's do January, and let's do a float point. So let's save this. So in Ruby, arrays can store multiple data types. So they have float, strings, you can store arithmetic operations, and integers, and so on, which is not always the case with every other programming language. So if we want to print the values in our array, we can simply use the puts command. So we can do puts array. Now save this, go to terminal, and run that. So let's run that, and it prints every value in my array. I can print this array as a string simply by putting a quotation mark around it and treating it as a variable. So I can put $, sorry, not $, a hashtag, and a curly bracket. Sorry, curly bracket. Save this, go to our terminal, let's run this again, and it's printed as a string. So it's exactly the same as array. If we want to print specific values in our array, we can access that value using something called index. Index is the numbering system of an array. So index starts from 0. So we count the first item as 0, the second entry as index 1, third entry is index 2, index 3, index 4, and so on. So if I want to print, let's say 4 times 4, that's the third item, so that's going to be the second index. I can simply do puts array 2. Now if we save that, go to our terminal and we run this, should get 16. 4 times 4 is 16. I can also access a sequence of data. So let's say I want to access the first 3. I can access it from index 0 up to index 2. So if I go back to my terminal and run this, I should get 18, 16. So only the first 3. Now I want to go through strings as well, just briefly. So string can also be treated as an array. So let's take a look at string. I'm going to write not to show friends. So if I save this, I can treat a string the same way as I treat an array. So if I want to print it, I can do puts str, save that, go back to our terminal, I get this. And if I want to access only the first letter, I can do str0, index 0. Go back to my terminal, run that, I get the first letter. Now let's say I want to access this word, I can do, let's count the index, so that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That would be index 16, there's 7 words in front, so that should be 22. Let's save this, go to our terminal, and let's run that, and we get the word friends. So string is actually just an array of characters. So every letter, every item here, it's a character. So strings are an array of character, which is why we can treat them the same way as we treat an array. So what we're looking at now is called one-dimensional array. We just have one item, one array, and we have the items in the array. Now, inside of multiple dimensional arrays, we can have arrays to 2-dimension, 3-dimension. We have arrays inside of arrays. So let's try to make one. I'll do multiples. Let's make a multiplication table. So let's start from multiplication of 0. So 0, let's do up to 4. Multiplication of 1. Let's do multiplication of 2. So 0, 2, 4, 6. And let's do multiplication of 3, 6, 9. So if I save this, if I want to print the multiplication table of, let's say, multiples of 3, I can simply go to my, I can print or put multiples 3. So I'm accessing the first array inside of multiples array, second array, third array, and fourth array, which means the index of this array would be 3. So if I go to my terminal and run that, I should get the multiplication table of 3. Now if I want to access individual items inside of this array, the smaller array, the second dimension, I can go, let's say I want to print 3 times 2, which should give me 6. So I should get the third item, which is the second index. Save that, go to our terminal, let's run that, I get 6. 3 times 3 is 6. If I have an array of strings, let's make seasons. We have summer, we have winter, we have autumn, and we have spring. Now if I save this, an array of strings are actually second dimensional arrays because strings are an array of characters. So there's the biggest array and there's smaller arrays in here. So if I want to access, let's say the first item, or the second one, let's say I want to print the word winter, I'll do puts seasons 1. The second item means the first index. So if I go to my terminal and I run that, I should get winter. Now if I want to print, let's say the letter T, I should go 0, 1, 2, 3. So that would be the third index in the word winter. So let's run that and I get, the letter T. So that's how we deal with two-dimensional array. Our array can go up to even higher dimensions. Let's say if I want to make a three-dimensional array. Let's make an array, let's call it characters. And if I want to print, let's do characters in the show Friends. We have, let's say Monica, and her occupation is a chef. Let's do her occupation. We have Rachel. She's an executive. And we have Joey. Let's do Joey. Joey's an actor. So let's save this. If we take a closer look, this is your first dimension, the character array. And then you have these smaller arrays. This is your second dimension. And then we have strings, which is an array of characters, which means these strings are your third dimension. So if I want to access, let's say, this array, I can go puts characters 0. That should give me Monica, chef. So I go to our terminal, run that, Monica, chef. Now if I want to print just Monica's name, or let's say her job, this is 0, 1. So the index would be 1 inside of this array. So let's go to our terminal. Let's print that. Should get just chef. Now if I want to know what is the, let's say I want to print the letter E, just the third letter inside of chef, I can go to third item means second index. Go to our terminal and we'll print the word E. So that's how we deal with arrays. I hope that makes sense. In the next video, I might be going through more on hashes, and I would also be going through about strings in later videos. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next video.